But never mind any of that jazz. We're heading straight towards picks and bans. I was about to make silly commentary and I said we ought to do a little bit more on topic. Game 2 coming on up. Anyone's Legend played a very good Game 1.
Yeah, and it is, Fearless Draft, so we are going to have a couple of these really big picks not available. Now, something that we have been seeing a lot in Fearless Draft is effectively, if you pick something in Game 1, you ban it in Game 2 because you don't ban it away from yourself anymore. Because you couldn't play it anyway. We're seeing that with the Rumble here from Anyone's Legend. We're seeing it from NIP with the Tristana. It feels like this has been one of the hallmarks of the Fearless Draft. It does kind of feel like, really, a lot of how AL want to play might get hit. They're not going to get themselves the AD mid versus AD mid matchup. It is going to be LeBlanc locked in for Rookie. He was countered by a Galio by IG on this one. IG managed to walk away with a pretty incredible win versus NIP. Feels like Shanks could just go towards something like a Yone as well if he wants a real AD mid laner, but he would be more than happy to go towards a mage on the other side. Kyle, most played champion in his career, Nat Leon, a very easy lock-in for him. Not available for draw. They could have left it until later into that draft, and if they will. I was saying it, I was thinking, well, they're probably going to lock it in at some point, but again, you have to have that second thought, thinking, well, this isn't a takeaway. It's not like NIP can lock it in on 2-on-3 because they played it last game. They can't lock it in at all. Instead, gonna lock in that Ashe, which is technically a flex pick between AD carry and support. We're seeing it a lot more in AD carry than support, so I'm assuming that it's going to be Hope's Ashe, which is a very powerful pick for him. And Croco goes back towards his Viego. So not going to be an AP jungler, one of the things which it feels like AL have been really, really going towards and being successful with. And now it does mean that you have potential of something like an Ashe arrow into a reset composition. NIP will need to be very careful about giving up a composition which is very vulnerable to Ashe arrows. They could potentially lock in something like an Ornn alongside the Senna, which can use the W to go unstoppable through the Ashe arrow. That can potentially be very good, and also catch out someone like the immobile Ashe on the other side. So instead of going towards something like the Nautilus, which is very good at a number of things, I think in this specific instance, the Ornn works better into the Ashe arrow and works better at catching out the Ashe from very long range because they're already very immobile. Now, AL, what are you going to round off your first round picks with here? You will presumably want to lock in something that works well into that LeBlanc. And they're going to leave that until later. Ashe Braum again. Ice cold. Once again, Sub-Zero. We saw that being played by Ultra Prime earlier. Niket and Doggo had a fantastic game on that Ashe Braum. And it means that if you're picking that Ornn into the Braum, you can put your shield behind you as Braum on that first cast and delete the Call of the Forge God from existence. That's one of the reasons why Ornn was dropped from pro play a little bit at points, because the Braum ended up being a bit of a counter for it. Welcome back, Sam. How are you doing over there? We're just talking through the first bans, and we're talking about the Ornn-Braum interaction. You put the shield out behind you, and you stop the Ornn from getting much value. It has been another Freljordian bot lane locked in. We saw this from Ultra Prime earlier.
Now, I'm going to say this, but I have a feeling you might have said it already, but did you mention Niket having a really great
yeah,
game?
we did.
I
Turns out
I had a feeling you might do that.
On this stream, we really like Niket from Ultra Prime as that rookie support. He's quite good. He's also in the same group as these two, and they just got themselves Ultra Prime to 3 wins. If NIP were to lose this game, they would fall behind Ultra Prime, and again, puts the fire onto all of these teams, especially since NIP with that pool 1 team. Getting through into that second round of bans is some AD skirmishing junglers being removed by Anyone's Legend. They have the LeBlanc already. Maybe they remove the Xin Zhao. They already have the Lee Sin. They could also remove away the Nidalee if they wanted to. Instead, removing Shanji's Jax instead. Maybe they want to pick up something like a tank top player and just say, all right, let's give Ala a good lane matchup.
I'm looking at this as well. I'm going, those are arguably the 2 most iconic champions for Rookie and Photic. The LeBlanc and the Senna are just like their champions in so many ways. One of them has a World Championship skin and a special chroma in China specifically for how damn good he is at this champion. And the other, of course, at the heights of their abilities, has been superlative on the Senna. The other side, debating locking in the Renekton. Could look for a Sejuani combo here, I suppose, alongside something like a Nidalee would work. But of course, I'm looking at this and realizing there's a Viego in, and I'm a little late to the party. So never mind there.
So, now AL, they banned away the Jax, which could have gone into jungle, but most likely would have gone towards top lane anyway. We don't really see Jax jungle outside of the Xin Zhao matchup, and that's not really been that common in LPL right now. And we're looking to see if Aki's going to get himself, again, one of his comfort champions. He's locking in that Wukong. This is better for NIP again. I actually don't think he played the Ivern badly, but it just means that NIP are not conforming to the AP jungle meta, which hasn't worked for them bluntly. I think going for that Wukong really helps, gives them really good engage as well. It means that the Ornn and the Wukong both make a mess of things. And if you're looking a cannon into that Renekton, you have good mixed damage, great engage, and it does mean that the Ashe is going to be put on the spot in regards to positioning an awful lot.
There's a lot of them very dangerous access to the backline between Wukong invisibility into Cyclone, the Call of the Forge God, Senna ult flying over, Rookie from a flank, Kenem from a flank. You're going to have to manage that very, very well. And of course, you've got some good tools for that here. Braum, Viego, Renekton, all pretty good at punishing divers who go a little bit too far. Honestly, Ashe as well, if you're trying to get spaced out by some of those freezing autos, can be quite challenging. The Azir is a last option to try and mitigate some of that.
Shanks is a player who loves picking one champion and drilling it as much as possible, getting really practiced at it and playing it on stage over and over. Shanks loved LeBlanc last year. And one of the reasons why Team WE with Shanks and Hope on that roster fell off a bit is that Azir was global banned, of course, after it had that weird kind of like skipping bug where it kind of like randomly ping pong between two spots in mid shuffle. But Shanks was a massive player of the Azir back then. He's not really played it as much this year. He's been much more towards, particularly in this split, the Corki, but he chooses one or two champions to go towards. His Azir is really strong. It is up against Rookie's LeBlanc. Means that both of these mid laners who have had solo kills between them, and honestly, Shanks has taken Rookie on a bit of a dog walk a couple of times. I think that this is now Rookie's time to really take this matchup to that Azir, show what he can do on this champion.
Well, LeBlanc quite known for putting people on leashes with those chains, so see whether the I don't know what you're laughing about. There was nothing inappropriate about that phrase at all. What's funny, Alex?
I like dogs, Sam. I like dogs. They make me laugh. They make me smile.
Makima out there nodding ahead. Well, we'll see whether this particular violent exchange between two teams will be a Chainsaw Man experience or not. It's a little bit slow in the early game last time around. Might be a little bit more explosive possibly here. Braum level 1s were what precipitated the play in game 2 of our first series of the day. You can see the skins coming up. Santa Braum out there. Santa has never been more of a Giga Chad, and onto the Rift we go. A lot of cheers there for Rookie, of course. A lot of signs for him as well. A little bit of a level 1 look in there. Not going to find too much, but Braum leads the way into the red side jungle. As we were somewhat expecting level 1 with a Viego, with an Ashe, with the Braum. All pretty scary as a combination, especially when you add a Renekton as well. That's a lot of synergy to proc those concussive blows. Looks like we might be looking at a split map here towards the bot lane.
That can always be a very powerful thing when you do have stuff like Braum for a level 1. You can always kind of like force that. This can just be just saying, look, we don't want you starting on this side and kind of pathing up towards what could potentially be a very dangerous Renekton matchup. Now what they're going to do instead of say, all right, you're going to take a red buff, we're going to do the same thing. Arla could just walk in here, but he could get bullied out of the same. He needs to find his way back to top lane, get himself some experience without getting chunked out too much.
Shanji started the Lightning Rush as well, which makes sense on the cannon, gives you all that additional attack speed, which when you've gone for the Doran's Blade for all of those auto empowerments, makes some sense, I think. Jo hit there briefly by the Winter's Bite and an auto afterwards. Ornn has ways to mitigate the CC at least.
Yeah, and well, there's going to be a passive lockdown. This is the problem. Playing melee support into Braum just hurts. The damage of concussive blows and the damage of Braum in general, it falls off, obviously, very heavily. But in early game, the base damages are absolutely absurd. Feels like Kyle being able to get that good damage down. Need to see that kind of be kept in check. Photic and Draw do not want to give up too much, especially since they're on the weak side of the map.
Yeah, another Blade of the Ruin King comes on through, and I mean the ability and not the item, of course. Thanks, Riot Games, for that one. It makes sense thematically, I give you, but it does sometimes cause some confusion.
Yeah, you know, it does actually have a name. I can't remember the name of Viego's sword, but it does have one.
I never learned it.
Yeah, there's some importance to it. Yeah, I can't. There's some
Excalibur.
Yeah, wow, that's great. Or what's the other one? There's
Durandal?
Durandal, that's another one, big one too. Ah, famous swords. Wow. I love those
Muramasa.
It's Muramasa and then Masamune.
Yeah, I know Masamune's a sword, Muramasa's the sword.
No, they are actually both swords. So the legendaries, and this is why Manamune and Muramasa are named after them, because it comes from a Japanese sword making myth where I believe it was Muramasa was the master and Masamune was the student, and the student challenged him to basically a contest to create the sharpest sword. And the student's sword, which was, I believe, Masamune, created a sword which was placed into a river, and it cut everything. It cut even the water itself, it was said. And then it was Masamune who put a sword into it where everything gently glided around the blade, and he won the contest because it only cut that which it was meant to cut, and that was the wisdom of the contest.
And interestingly, I think as well that sometimes the moral of that story changes depending on who's telling it as well, because some people say the student won. I think it's one of those ones that gets quite interesting.
Well, we do have ourselves a bit of a master of the mid lane. Don't mind that he's called Rookie. This mid-jungle fights.
Aki will step on forwards with the Nimbus Strike, and student and master in the mid lane, backed up by their weapons of choice, namely the junglers. We all know that we're on a leash to the mid laners there to help them in everything they do. It's a weird life.
Yeah, it is. Apparently, the sword of Viego is apparently called Sanctity. Yeah, thank you, chat, for that one. I appreciate it. I knew it had a name. I just can't remember the name of it, and it's got some weird magic stuff going on there. Anyway, early jungle pathing, of course, was kind of traded like for like. Aki on the Wukong, much more comfortable on the bruises. Kyle gonna get hit as he hops away, but goes out of vision. He's not gonna get double tapped.
Oh, mid lane solo kill.
And we just hop back into mid lane, as we said. That Shanks goes back to one of his favorite picks, but he's against Rookie's LeBlanc. Flash now forced out in the bot lane.
Hang on, the turnaround might be pretty huge here. Gets rooted die by the Senna. That could prove really big in terms of the ability to chase on down. Kyle's about to have the door come off, and that could turn things into a difficult position. Zaki is also roaming down. Juro low, flashing away, stays alive. Now Photic is in danger. Aki could still turn this all around. Photic has to flash as well. A last auto would do it. Secured. Hope, though, will die. It's a 1-for-1.
So 1-for-1, but Hope and Kyle really doing well in the 2v2. Kyle using the exhaust importantly in that trade. Has the exhaust for the cannon later on, but uses it for the 2v2. NIP, though, they get themselves a lot of comfort champions. We said they were very important to this team. The new meta of summer hasn't been kind to NIP, but the LeBlanc, the Senna, the Wukong, they have been. This is just Shanks overstaying for a reset. I'm going to imagine that Rookie just flashes beyond the wave. Yeah, flashes for the chain. Shanks had his wave in a bit of an awkward spot. Rookie, one of the few laners which actually punishes you on wave states, gets the solo kill off of it.
Yeah, you could see that's the advantage of being able to teleport in a better timing than your opposition does, and he gets the first blood. It gets 2 stacks and a Dark Seal as well, so Rookie coming out in a very good position there, and we saw a little bit of that with Yukai and Xiaohu, with the LeBlanc in particular able to keep the Azir at least chunked.
And the thing is, in summer, because of stuff like the Orianna being missing from the pool, and a couple of the things like there's a couple of the damaging runes like Comet, and a couple of the other things being nerfed, it does feel like LeBlanc has freer laning phases, and then the champions which are left, Rookie and other skilled players, can really start using it as a lane bully, transition that over into a huge lead where you become a proper assassin later into the game. Giving a kill like that might just be what NIP need in this early game.
Oh boy.
What they don't need is Draw getting caught out. Has barrier from Spellbook, that might help here.
I don't think it keeps him alive. The arrow afterwards is well buffered with a Bellows Breath, but I think he's just huffed and puffed, and Croco has knocked his bot lane down.
That it has. And the thing about on W is that you keep moving while your W's on, but you still take the remainder of the CC after. So he's still stunned afterwards, doesn't have himself something like Mercury's Treads for the extra tenacity. Hope, really accurate at that one, gets a kill in the bot side. AL not content to let themselves fall behind the game. Photic can move towards top side to help this cannon get ahead of the game. That's great, but now we need to see what the cross map is really going to get them. Have the 3 grubs, they're going to take themselves some damage on the tower, and it does look like Shanji's getting quite far ahead of the game against Arlo, who of course had a very good game on the Jax. Just gone. Cross map for cross map.
And that cannon could prove very difficult to manage. Again, you have got good disengage, good anti-dive, but there is so much of it from NIP. And if they kind of get ahead of the curve, get themselves to the top of that damage, like hill, so to speak, and get very tricky, Ale has had to pop the ultimate bot. Then we go as well, trying to turn around. It's a good double knock up, and actually Kyle's going to die, surely. Will trade 1-for-1. Topside, Ale getting so much damage onto Photic, and he gets that one, and somewhere else, it looks like
Kyle died on the bot side because he knew he'd taken one too many tower shots, but Arla winning on the weak side as well means that both of our top laners get some, well, both of our tanks, I suppose. The isolated laners get something on the weak side. You don't have Dominus anymore. Arla, no rage either. What can he get here?
There's a slicing Maelstrom in a dream. A lot of damage back. The Cyclone comes on through. Cannot get close enough to W and Q Shanji.
All right. So basically, the tower dives on each side of the map end up in a 1-for-1. Kyle can stop this recall. Actually, I don't think he has W, so he has to get out. He had none of that defensive ability. Kyle still has good early game damage, as that Brawlman was maybe afraid someone like Croco was just behind him Forcing a flash out of the Wukong, maybe that'll be important later. Very even early game compared to the last one, though, I think. Last game, of course, we had the Jax getting ahead of the Cassante. This time it's the Kennen getting ahead of the Renekton. This is what happened in the dive. Photic using the tower to line up a Q shot and get some tank down, but Ala managed to get himself a huge amount of rage, fully clears the wave, which forces Shanji off, and it isolates Photic. Nice. That instant wave clear puts Photic and Shanji onto opposite sides of the tower. Ala really well played.
Very slick combo and very well managed in a tricky position, but in the weak side play, gets the kill. Yes, he's still behind, of course, but compare that to the other side where the dive went that much clean up, relatively speaking. Of course, Kyle dies again, but it's still like, actually, Ala got the wave. That didn't happen on the other side, and it took another another cycle, another wave to come on through before the Renekton was finally brought down.
Yeah, took him another chance there. Anyway, so getting ourselves back into the here and now. Lots of vision being traded across different sides of the jungle. You can see there's some defensive vision from NIP on bot side, but there is some aggressive vision from AL into their top side blue side. That might give AL entrance towards second grub spawns as it comes up in a minute. Very even in gold. Gold is split across different places, and Hope almost hits Rookie. Doesn't quite manage it. It's going up towards top side. Shanji gets brained by it instead. It's going to lead to absolutely nothing, but it was a good shot. Well done, Hope.
Yeah, exactly. Hope just finds a target at the very least. It's just showing off at that point.
Works out all the same. So, that's no Ash Arrow for the next play. Don't think they need it for bot side. You can see that again. Hope doing really, really well on the Ashe in terms of the individual gold. I mean, yes. So the thing is, when you're against a Senna lane, you take the gold advantage from AD carry and you compare it to the gold advantage between supports. 800 gold up as a 2v2 are AL, and that's going to very much help them. We've seen what Ashe can do if she manages to get good team fights. Ala, he's left low on top, so I can have to pop ult. Senna ults on him.
That's going to prove a bit difficult. The Dawning Shadow comes on through. He's got a Dominus and a Dream. Gets a decent stun. We'll have a Q available. It's a decent amount of healing. No way! The slow's too good, and that will eventually get Shanji in range for an auto.
The extendo bonk coming in from Aki as he finishes off the kill onto Renekton. Doesn't quite get himself the healing or the mobility. Ala on the Renekton, put on the other side of a winning top lane matchup this game. Croc goes up towards top side. There is no ultimate available for Shanji. There is for Aki. Who else is coming? Is anyone coming up here? No.
Waiting to see if someone phase checks.
No, I don't think you can really do much here. He has a blade completed, but it would have been an awful lot to ask to do much against the ult from Aki. And it's just going to be an evening up of the grub score. So it'll be 3 grubs to NIP, 3 to AL. You have to imagine. I don't think they're going to have to contest early Dragon over to anyone's Legend. So it's a bit more of, again, the splitting of the early game objectives.
Feels a little bit better, of course. That will get some grubs in for the likes of the Azir and the Renekton, who do like to hit the towers, at least the tier 1s, when they get the opportunity with things like Nash's Tooth.
Normally I'd say about Renekton. He hates doing that versus Kennen.
And you're so right, though.
Yeah, that one kind of sucks. Normally Renekton can walk up against a Skarner or a Cassante and do that. Just can't do the same against this Lightning Wrap. Rookie's going to get himself chunked out. Has himself the Mimic forced out. It's only the first rank of the Mimic. Not that much cooldown reduction, so that won't be available if they go for another quick skirmish, but he'll still take that trade off of dodging the arrow.
I was debating a little looking at the Dragon, but I think they're going to hold off having failed the pick on Rookie. I think that's fair enough. Croco continue to farm up and doing pretty well here on the Viego. I remember the last time we saw him win on the Viego, we kind of noted not the greatest win rate of all time on the champion, even if he is a big player of the champion, but he's also been on teams that haven't succeeded that well, I think.
Yeah, he was middling in LCK. I was listening over to, I think I was listening to Power Spike or maybe something inside. Monty was talking about it, Monty Cristo. And he was talking about how Croco was not really any big name in LCK. He's becoming quite a decent, name within this team, though, at least. I'm excited to see what they can do. I'm hoping it's not just a couple of series where he looks good and then falls off afterwards. I'm really hoping that Tabe's guidance for this team can lead them to, again, a good split and have something of a a building moment for anyone's Legend as an organization. They've really not managed to keep themselves in the conversation as one of the real great LPL teams. This could be a split for them. But NIP, they've kind of started that from this spring. NIP, a team which, of course, took over from V5. And they've had a bit of turbulence. Last year, 2023, they managed to sneak into playoffs one time, but they didn't really manage to do much with it. Spring, they really exploded, though. If they could, again, capitalize, double down on that, have a good summer, walk into 2025, I'm proud of their results from this one. Maybe that changes people's perception of the organization, too.
Do that. Croco as well built his namesake, Blade of the Rune King, aka Sanctity, as we have now learned. Built up by Croco nice and early here. They're going to continue invading. Photic's around, looking to pick up some of the souls from the jungle camps. Does like to do that, does Senna.
Crocco's going to steal away the Gromp in the meantime. We did say that Viego is one of those weird champions where you're not one of the AP carries that farms up a Storm. Viego actually can farm up and be a carry in his own right. I think that Blade, Kraken, really strong items for him right now. Less tanky than he used to be. Tanky Viego builds are harder to come by. You can still go towards Sundered Sky, but Crocco getting a farm advantage and trying to, like, close the gold gap of, you know, the kills taken by Aki is quite important because the Wukong in this kind of game could be really, really destructive. I'm really not looking forward to seeing what Ala has to go through in these team fights. 1,000 gold down, going for a strike breaker, having to get through a cyclone, the slicing maelstrom. It's a lot of inclement weather, all things said and done. And even the Call of the Forge God too. It's going to be hellish for AL to play from behind in this game. And they're going to have to find themselves a way to somehow mitigate the NIP's team fighting tools. It's going to be really hard.
And that's despite actually pretty solid macro moves of their own. It's just where the leads have gotten could be a little bit easier to mitigate from the side of NIP than the other way around. To the Herald we go. We might be seeing a 5v5 here. Teleporting in. They want this. But Shanji, theoretically on a flank, sure, from another angle too.
Shanks has Flash. What can you do with that one too? It feels like, again, NIP have the team fight tools.
Oh, Flash for the Cyclone. Into the Call of the Forge God. And a slicing Maelstrom. Ninjas in pajamas. Take your hats off.
And they do hope. Ends up taking Shanji down, but it really, again, felt like Anyone's Legend knew what they were going to walk into. Basically, all of their HP bars went down. It was 3 down for them just for the 1 return. NIP have the team fight tools, have the early gold, use them well.
Every flash
Rookie
from NIP was, but from Anyone's Legend was blood. Rookie just pops it.
Pops and flashes forward to guarantee that chain couldn't be snapped. Rookie assassinating the team too. Rookie's LeBlanc fell to Invictus Gaming. Looks like it might just carry them against Anyone's Legend. We did say that he's been having an on and off split. It feels like Rookie as a player hasn't been Rookie from Spring, the second best mid laner in the LPL. But this game, he's really turning to play on his skin, on his champion, that LeBlanc. Back into this fight, though. Anyone's Legend, they choose awful terrain for this. Awful terrain. The Emperor's Divide buys a little bit of space, but it's too little too late. The Cyclone's already tapped everyone once. You've got the Slicing Maelstrom going through as well. The disengaged play just couldn't come out quick enough. And AL really walk away with a hugely won fight for them. Rookie even picking one up at the end adds insult to injury.
See exactly what he's looking for. Level 11, waiting for that distortion cooldown. Check it at the bottom of your screen. And up.
Yeah, there he goes. He gets himself the full combo through the double sigil. Easy as you like.
And another kill picked up now at 8 stacks on the Dark Seal. A couple items completed. Level 12 as well. This LeBlanc is going to be such a misery to manage.
Now the question is, can they shut him down? He has no flash. He used that for the play. Just uses the Distort on the wave and his Mimic.
Oh, the arrow afterwards is fantastic. Actually, from Hope into the shuffle. Huge shutdown goes the way of Crocco.
It takes 3 people walking at them and a handful of ultimates, but they get the king of mid lane down in the LPL. Rookie dies for his first time in the game. Kill goes over to Crocco, means that he gets himself a slight gold advantage, but the cross map is still a tower on the other side. It's not like NIP gained nothing for the overinvestment on the top side of the map from Anyone's Legend. The game's going to slow down a little bit now with, I think, with some of those ultimates off the table.
Also note, because the wave was all the way back near the tier 2/Krugs, there's no way they can get a chunk on tower or whatever afterwards, and Rookie will have teleport, so really what happens is he'll teleport topside in about a second or so, pick up that wave, and nothing changes. Although he might want to hold on to it, perhaps, especially with Dragon coming up. That might actually be his response.
Yeah, it might be. So, with the gold taken up by that kill onto Anyone's Legend, Crocco's almost at his second item now, actually, as well. I think Aki and Crocco, once they hit their 2 items, they're going to be so nasty if they get in and amongst it in the team fight. We did say that Aki, he's probably been the person that I would have to criticize the most from NIP. But when he's on his comfort champions, NIP look alive. When he's on something like this Wukong or the Rek'Sai, he can really make something work. Crocco, we did say that it's less of a comfort champion on the tier, but he makes it work all the same.
Nice.
And Hope on the Ashe. Lest we forget LPL champion from summer 2022. Very, very good player of the Ashe from that era.
That he certainly was, and of course was replaced by Ruler, another really
world-class
phenomenal,
Ashe.
really phenomenal Ashe player, guys.
Right.
There's a hint here.
Dragon is up. Herald spawned in mid lane. This won't full kill the turret, but it does require a response from Anyone's Legend. They'll take that down, and NIP will get themselves... Well, I would have thought they would have got positioning onto the Dragon. They don't, all the same. Shanji doesn't have flash. Maybe that's one of the reasons they don't want to commit to this. I'm kind of surprised NIP Didn't get much off that. Did he even charge? Didn't even charge. NIP waste the Herald, and they don't get themselves like an intro to the fight.
They don't. And now the wards are down. A little bit harder, I think, for NIP to force the engage the way they did the last time. Yes, the flash is down, but there's not that many on NIP to use either.
Hope's arrow's back up, and there's no flash on Shanji. I think Anyone's Legend is spoiling for this fight. I think they're in a good spot.
On the flank here, Jaw, hit by the Winter's Bite, may well be forced to Bellow's Breath here. Shanji now looking for his own angle, but will be spotted, as will Rookie.
He might be able to just hit Shanji on the side. Here comes the call of the Forge God.
Dominus about to time out for Allah is the problem. That's a big engage afterwards. The stun, though, onto Shaw gets him very low, but it will at least be a 1-for-1, theoretically. No, it's just 2 dead. They can't make the backline assassination happen. Ale waited too long. He goes down shortly afterwards as well, you have to imagine. A last auto does it, and yes, AL was spoiling for the fight, but they lose it nonetheless.
Yeah, they had full information and no flash on the cannon, but also Arla had no flash either. And the top laners both find themselves with lacking options. Shanks gonna go down from Rookie over the wall. The LeBlanc is truly popping heads.
I'm waiting to see this replay because Arla popped the ultimate, the Dominus, so early, and yet it just doesn't happen.
So popping the Dominus, for those of you that don't know, is that you use it for the rage. You use it for that rage, and that's completely fine, because actually it's not really about the damage around you, but I think the problem is that he kind of sits here, he's trying to get himself to the point where he can get too big empowered abilities. But it really just feels as though they didn't quite manage to disengage while Arla was going in with Croco. They don't get themselves that kill. It was only onto the Ornn as well, you know, it's not even the most important target. And yeah, I feel like AL, they just they thought they had an angle, and then they got slapped by an Ornn.
Yeah, and then Aki and Shanji press R at the same time, and suddenly there's no health bar on Croco either. As you kind of noted, this is a relatively squishy build that Viego is kind of forced to go into these days. And people like Rookie can be very scary to manage. The ethereal chain's not going to quite land.
You know, I just had a bit of a brain fart as well. How the heck did Kyle not manage to cancel out the Ornn himself? And now he's already used a shield. He can't do it again.
Oh boy, tower goes down. Shanji might be in danger, taken very low, but the Cyclone afterwards is really good. Finally, he's brought down, but Shanks is shanked in turn. Bleeding out in the mid lane. Anyone's Legend get wrecked.
Anyone's Legend are really struggling to set up plays in the way they want. Once again, Kyle can't do anything against Dro's ults on the Ornn. He's ended up using the E too early, and this fight is going to lead to a Baron going over from NIP. This should be NIP going into a huge advantage, getting up towards a, 6,000 gold lead with the Baron power play yet to come. You're going to have some huge moments coming up now with NIP. Can push out the map. AL going to really struggle to land the engage. Besides a Miracle Ash Arrow, I think Anyone's Legend are looking at down the barrel of a game 3.
I think it will be that at the very least. Here we are in this game state, and we said, well, what happens if NIP snowball? Can you really mitigate all of the damage? And the answer has been categorically no. See the start of the play as it is Anyone's Legend trying to defend this mid lane tier 1, and it goes very wrong.
Folks, you shouldn't have your primary objective when you're behind in the game to kill the Ornn. That's just not the target you want. The target should not be the tankiest member of the other team. He started there with 2 tank items. He's got a Senna for healing him up as well. Rookie going to jump forward. Doesn't dodge the arrow. He's going to die.
That would actually be fairly huge. Big shutdown as well. He just bought a Medjai's no less. Wait, he's still alive? Not anymore. There go the stacks. They can keep going now. Croco stealing the body of the fed LeBlanc. Scary to work with. Kyle goes down. The damage back now pretty big as a flash for the Cyclone. Could look for part 2. Hope flashing away. Staying alive for just now. Croco can't secure the kill. Too much damage. Call of the Forge God now coming on through, and the train hits hard. Shanji ulting away. Shanks looking on forwards. Can't get the kills. Aki's Wukong just hits different.
NIP have struggled to find their way into summer, but in this game versus Anyone's Legend, they again return to comfort and return back to what we know this team can do. Aki 6-0-8 on Wukong looks so different from his other games. NIP, they have really found their mojo a little bit again. Even if they've been struggling to adapt to summer, that's going to be the Baron push rather, getting even more from NIP. They're going to get themselves a 5,000 Baron play, or just about.
They continue to keep ordering away, doing a lot of damage. Yes, the pick onto Rookie was good. Felt very nice, especially now with the Cosmic Drive. His ability to hop over walls and keep throwing out those obnoxious poke combos continues to be dangerous. But that felt like a moment for Croco to hit body after body after body and could not kill Shanji, could not kill Aki. the fact they're far enough ahead, they just can't get enough damage down onto them.
I actually undershot with the Baron power play, but he ends up being 6,000.
Oh.
That's a huge Baron power play. The pick on the Rookie is good. It also means you can get the reset with the Fed LeBlanc while Croco's super high HP. That's a really good victory to have. Full HP on LeBlanc, goes forward for the chain. We don't get to talk about that. We're going for another sideline play.
Rookie's there. Are they about to be in danger? The chains land. I think the top laners might get traded. No, they will not. And Croco now steals the body. Can look to try and get onto Rookie. Just throw out a shuriken or two. That is actually pretty nice. A couple moments there from AL, who do have good picks still.
And they've managed to play around side lanes fairly well. The problem is, now they've used a lot of those tools. Can they return back to their base? Baron buff still on for 30 seconds. NIP, they will give up objective bounties on these turrets, but can they take an inhibitor for it? AL, they get something at least.
Rookie continuing to do what the Cosmic Drives allows them to do, which is probably interrupt a lot of these backs. This inhibitor does go down, I think, as Croco actually kind of just playing with fire there. By the fire, I mean Rookie, who is 5-2 and 6, 3-item LeBlanc. But you know.
Sadly for Rookie, well, he bought up the Magi's, immediately died.
We've all been there.
Forgets that you have a global taunt on you when you have that item, and played a little bit beyond that. Aki and Fodi. Yeah, I like this from NIP. Now, the thing is, once you start doing these big map-wide plays, you are going to give up vision as well. NIP, they put down some pink wards, they put down some regular wards, and they're ready to hop over a wall. Hook that Hawkshot doesn't spot everything. It's map hacks, but it's not necessarily spotted out everyone. It's not a UAV.
No, not quite there. There's a counter UAV available, namely the fact that you can press W on center and just hide people in a shroud briefly.
He's going to hop over the wall, potentially. This is so dangerous from AL. I think you can see why they've been playing quickly to side lanes. If they quickly move to an area of the map where NIP haven't put down wards, AL have a shot. Problem is, the cross map is so effective from NIP that even when they're getting these kills, it's not necessarily earning them back the gold that they're losing for the kind of the opportunity cost of it. The Baron power play ends up being about 5,000 because of the objective bounty that came in from the top outer turret, a couple of shutdowns which come alongside that too, but still, NIP, what a difference from Game 1, Game 2, and the earlier series, of course, as well.
And now NIP have been able to go home and shop 3 items on Kennen, and on Wukong, and on LeBlanc, and on Senna, who's stacking up souls. You've got a death cap as that item on Kennen. There's an ornament beginning to fly through the opportunity. Now, with certainty, NIP, with this gold and with the stacks, have just gotten scary. Yes, you managed to find a pick or two. I don't know how easy that's going to be now that those item discrepancies become a lot more solid.
Oh, floating Module has got caught.
That's not bad. Huge moment. Can pick it up. Doesn't need the body. Croc can think about stealing it. Perhaps Jort now in a dangerous position. The arrow afterwards onto Aki, who just gets stunned. The Cyclone is down. Does not have flash available. Dominus is doing a lot of work. Chains come on through. Aki needs to keep on running. The Warrior Trickster. Flash for the Winter's Bite, but it's a good ultimate. And Shanji says no! Huge slicing maelstrom electrifies the backline of anyone's legend. They're nobody's legend, but a dead, well, whole team, frankly, at this point. They're all gone.
The start of that was, again, AL looking for the pick, but they overchase once they find it, and NIP, with a ninja in the top lane, the lightning ninja of Kennen, say no to AL, and they will send this to a Game 3 in their home arena of Shenzhen. NAP do not want to leave the race for top of Group D too early.
A desperate moment. They catch Photic for the first time in a long, long moment. They think they can push for more, and Shanji just turns it around. That is a gold lead, and a cannon hitting a lot of people with R.
So, NIP, they return to comfort, and it's working for them. I think the biggest thing about NIP is just them finding themselves. A lot of the time in the LPL, it does kind of feel like a lot of our teams need to do some soul searching. And I think for a long time in Spring,